Hello, friends. Today is Lesson 8, Fallacious Reasoning and Logical Fallacies. Now, over the previous lessons, we've looked at what makes a good academic argument, what's included in a good academic argument. We looked at valid claim, reasoning, and evidence, as well as acknowledgement of a counterclaim and reasoning that supports that as well. Today, what we're going to do is we're actually going to look at some logical fallacies or what makes a bad argument that's sometimes used. So here's our goal. Say it with me. Goal. I can identify fallacious reasoning and logical fallacies. For your do now today, you need your notebook, a pen or a pencil, and your iPad. Go ahead and open up to your notes section and be prepared to take some notes. At the very top of your page, please write down the title, Logical Fallacies. Now, remember, we're probably going to go through this pretty quickly here, and if you need to, feel free to pause the video at any time if you need some more time to write down your notes, or you could also look over your slides after this presentation. Here we go. Now, you don't need to write this. This is just review. We're just going to go over some of our vocabulary terms here just to refresh our memories. So the first one that we're going to go over is valid reasoning, because that's what we've looked at thus far. Reasoning that's based on logic, uses facts, statistics, or personal experience, or also expert opinion to support their claim. Now, the opposite of that is fallacious reasoning. And this is reasoning that does not provide the necessary support, such as facts, to back up the given claims. Now, specifically, when we're talking about fallacious reasoning, we're talking about different types of logical fallacies. Now, a logical fallacy is parts of an argument that intentionally or purposefully mislead others to persuade them, or in simpler terms, a bad argument. So today what we're going to do is we're going to take note of 10 different types of logical fallacies. There are many, many more out there, but we're going to make sure that we really know these first 10. So here's the first one that you should write down. It's called ad hominem. And this is when the author is attacking a person or their character rather than their argument or reasoning. Here's an example. Right? Meanwhile, in the Montana state governor's race, here is a political candidate, someone who's running for governor, and she says, because of that, I am for raising the minimum wage in our state. Now, the opponent responds with an ad hominem. He says, she's for raising minimum wage, but isn't even smart enough to run a business. Okay, so not attacking or not arguing with her point, he's attacking her and saying that she's not smart. So he's attacking her character rather than her reasoning. That's ad hominem. Moving on. Next is ad populum. This is also referred to as the bandwagon fallacy. So either or, you can kind of use those interchangeably. And the definition for this is attempting to swap popular support by appealing to sentimental weakness rather than with facts. So that common idea that everyone's doing it, so that's why I'm doing it, right? That's the popular opinion, so it must be right, which is incorrect. So here's an example of everyone who's jumping off a cliff. One of the characters is saying everyone's doing it, and the other has said, oh, that makes total sense. If everyone's plunging to their death here, I might as well too, because everyone's doing it. That's a bad argument. Moving on. Next is appeal to authority. We often see this in advertisements, and this is arguing that since an authority, not necessarily an expert in the matter either, thinks something, it must be true. So for example, we have Shaquille O'Neal here. He's advertising or doing a celebrity endorsement for Icy Hot, and because he's endorsing it, it must be the best product out there. Now, just because he's a basketball player and he's popular does not mean that he has the authority to say that this is the best product on the market, right? It could be someone who works for Icy Hot, such as like a scientist who's created it and proves it with scientific fact, but not just because, oh, hey, here's this popular basketball player, should we believe that we should buy this Icy Hot patch. Moving on. Appeal to fear. Attempting to create support for an idea using deception and propaganda in attempts to increase fear and prejudice towards the competition. So here's an example here. Cutting your sun exposure is easier than cutting out skin cancer. So this is an ad meant to, or appeals to our fear, right? It's saying that you can cut out your sun exposure or to spend less time in the sun is easier than cutting out skin cancer because you've spent too much time in the sun. So it's an advertisement to appeal to your fear. The next logical fallacy that we're going to look at is called the black-white fallacy, or either or. We're going to mainly refer to it as an either or fallacy. And this is suggesting that there are only two options that exist when in reality there are several options. So here's kind of a funny example. Either you like bacon or you're wrong, right? There are many other options here, ideas, opinions about that, but they're arguing that it's either you like bacon or you're wrong, and that's not correct. Moving on. Circular reasoning. Using evidence that hasn't been proven in order to prove something else, then using that same something else to prove the original claim. Here's an example. Sally never lies. We know this to be true because Sally said so. We know this because Sally never lies, right? So original claim, that circles right back to what was originally said. Circular reasoning. Next is hasty generalization. This is using small numbers or percentages to represent the whole. Here's an example. Sarah is bad at driving. Sarah is a female, so therefore all girls are bad at driving. One person generalizing that all girls are bad at driving. That's a bad argument, a hasty generalization. Moving on. Next is called the red herring fallacy. This is diverting attention from something, usually something the arguer wants to avoid, by changing the subject to something else. Many politicians do this in political debates, but here are some examples here. Mom, I want that toy. Honey, let's rush home. Yummy treat for you. Right? So the mom, of course, is trying to divert her daughter's attention from getting the toy and changing the subject to something else. Another example is, in order to really look at the problem of global warming, we must first consider how homeless suffer when it's cold. Completely changing the subject here and diverting the audience. So that is a red herring. Next is slippery slope. This is arguing that if one bad thing happens, a series of bad things will follow. Here's an example. School is killing us. Textbooks are made from paper. Paper are made from trees. We need trees for oxygen. Thus, school is killing us. Right? This original claim is not supported by everything or that series that follows. That's a slippery slope. Finally, a straw man. A final fallacy is called a straw man, and this is misrepresenting a scenario, then attacking that to make the opponent look bad. Here's an example. You want to go to get burgers? Could we get pizza instead? What? So you're saying we could only ever eat pizza? That we should just burn down all the burger stores? No, that's a very inaccurate and unfair representation of what I just said. Okay, so again, misrepresenting the scenario, then attacking that to make the opponent look bad. That's the straw man fallacy. All right, so we've taken down notes for those 10 logical fallacies. Now I want you to just quickly review those. And we're going to watch two examples and we're just going to practice on identifying what is the logical fallacy. What's the logical fallacy? So, as we watch this very first one, look over your notes and see if you can identify what is that logical fallacy. Begin.
This is the joy for me. I love bread. I love bread. I now just manage it, so I don't deny myself bread. I have bread every day. I have bread every day. That's the genius of this program. I lost 26 pounds and I have eaten bread every single day.
Okay, so this was an advertisement for Weight Watchers, right? The Weight Watchers program. And we have Oprah here who is speaking towards this program and saying that she can eat bread every day and still lose weight using this program. Now, what is the logical fallacy here? I hope that you said that the logical fallacy was appeal to authority, right? Now, in order for this to be valid reasoning, it would be some type of fact of how many users have lost weight. But because she's Oprah, she's using her authority or her status as a celebrity to say that this program works. So it's not necessarily the best argument. It would be appeal to authority, logical fallacy. Let's look at one final example here. And again, we're going to watch this, and I want you to try and identify what type of logical fallacy is it.
When you pay too much for cable, you feel powerless. When you feel powerless, you want to take the power back. When you want to take the power back, you take karate. When you take karate, you want to use your karate. When you want to use your karate, you become the fist of goodness. When you become the fist of goodness, you run along rooftops. And when you run along rooftops, you fall into a dinner party. Don't fall into a dinner party. Get rid of cable and upgrade to DirecTV. Call 1-800-DIRECT.
All right, what type of fallacy was that? Look over your notes. And I hope you identified it as slippery slope, right? One event leading to many other events, and it's not necessarily a great argument. All right, that's it for today, 10th graders. Here is your assignment. You are going to locate the logical fallacy quiz in the lesson 8 folder. Looks like this, logical fallacies quiz. You're going to complete that and submit this quiz. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Thanks. Have a great day.